Welcome back to SA Wine Weekly. We have got probably the one, I always say this at every start, one of the most picturesque locations in McLaren Vale.
It's absolutely stunning.
I've got my gorgeous co-host as always, new co-host, Jade, welcome.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
Couldn't find a box for you
We
to
need
stand
a
on?
crate.
Or?
That's all right.
No?
We'll get the higher heels next time.
Right, fair enough. It's quite a high bar or quite a low host, I'm not sure which one.
Both. We'll say both.
We've got to introduce us. Very special guest.
Welcome.
We've got the winemaker from Richard Hamilton and Leconfield, winemaker from both. Flash Gordon. Oh no, Paul Gordon. Flash,
how are you? Good to see you.
Has anyone ever called you Flash before?
It's been known once or twice.
Yeah, I thought they might have. Wasn't in our notes, but we thought we'd bring it up anyway.
Oh, yes.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We
Thanks for inviting me.
We're really privileged to have you here, so we are really looking forward to it. I'm really intrigued by the history because in McLaren Vale especially, everybody proclaims that they were the first winery or the first ones to plant vines. Or at the moment, my thoughts are K Brothers were first, and then Pyramima, and then maybe you guys were around the same time. Tell me about the history
Well, actually, probably
of the Hamiltons.
The Hamiltons, yeah. So the Hamiltons' history goes back probably well before those wines, not necessarily in this region. So you look at the foundation of South Australia. So South Australia, being a free colony, was established in 1836. So this is me from a Victorian point of view, talking about South Australia.
Right.
So South Australia was proclaimed in 1836, and the first Richard Hamilton came to South Australia in 1837. And so when they came round the bottom of Africa, he picked up grapevines from there. And the probably reason why they went through and picked up grapevines in Africa rather than Europe, of course, is that South Africa is in the southern hemisphere, so the grapevines would have been in the same cycle as what they would have been here. So
Very clever.
Yep.
Very clever.
So and they picked up Shiraz and Grenache, I believe, were the two of the varieties that they picked up, knowing there was going to be a colony which needed something to drink. And so they took up land in the areas which are now famous for shopping centres at Marion and so forth, and planted grapevines there. So there's still remnants of those vines, remnants of vines owned by the Hamiltons still around the Marion area in South Australia.
So there's a massive useless, no, not so much useless, but interesting fact that the first vines in South Australia, the Hamiltons were involved with the planting at Marion.
Yes, in that area, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
They had a winery there, of course, until I think 1979. I find they closed. But, so the Hamiltons, from Richard's research of the history, were the first actually to plant grapevines in South Australia, not necessarily in McLaren Vale, but in South Australia. So it's the oldest family wine producer in the region. And then the current Richard Hamilton is the fifth generation.
Yeah. The first Richard Hamilton had a cracking beard.
He did.
I had a bit of beard in me when I was doing my history.
Yeah, that's right. I would imagine that to be really a serious person, you really need to have a beard.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I've tried. I'm not that serious.
No, the moustache is going all right.
Yeah, moustache is okay.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a
Could do a
bit
little
of
bit of work, but... Right, so you get onto that,
We're
Jade.
going to go with the Chardonnay Pinot Noir today.
Tell me a bit of Paul's history.
Oh, my history.
Yeah.
Well, my history. I started off going to Rosalie in the mid '70s. Okay.
So you went to Rose, the
Yeah.
winemaker. Who was in your class?
People who have a note.
Besides yourself, of course.
Stephen George, who was from Ashton Hills.
Okay.
Keith Bugford from Bosswood in Western Australia.
Yeah.
To name a couple. Neil McGuigan from Australian Vineyard.
Yeah, okay.
Very well known still.
That's quite a large name,
Yep.
yeah.
Darryl.
Good
Oh!
morning. There we go.
Darryl Groom, who ended up over in the States, working for a company called Guys Up East.
Wow.
Yeah, some pretty well-known people.
Bit of a
who really
star-studded class.
It was a really good class, yeah.
So you started off at Roseworthy, and then where did we move to from there?
Yeah. Well, originally, actually, I came from a sheep farm. That was where I came from. My parents didn't actually drink wine as such. We had the occasional glass of sparkling red at Christmas time and maybe Easter.
Yeah.
I had an auntie who used to bring along a bottle of red at Christmas time, and I had a little taste as a teenager. But my interest in wine came from probably in the early 70s when I was trying to work out what to do with a life apart from being a sheep farmer. That the industry was going through a bit of a boom with white wine,
Okay.
and it was in most of the newspapers. There was articles on wine and so forth, and just caught my imagination as probably being something a bit risque at the time, something that wasn't done in our area. That it was a practical outlook for science, which I loved.
Yeah.
And so I applied to go to wine college, not thinking I'd have a hope in hell of getting in, but I did, and so I got in. That sort of set my course in winemaking. So,
And where did you first start? Where was your first job or first vintage?
my first vintage, probably the first real vintage, was at a company called Leo Beering's, which was owned by the Lindeman's organisation at the time.
Yeah.
And there I did a vintage and worked wherever's required. And they developed a passion for Riesling of all things, because it was the main variety. Leo Beering's is still a brand, I think, still going. The winery has been sold since then. But that set my course, because I decided then when I was doing my studies that I really needed to work for a company that was going to provide a great mentorship for me. And Lindeman's at that stage was one of the larger three companies. We used to call them the PLO. Penfolds, Lindeman's in Orlando. They were the
big boys.
PLO.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Lindeman's was a major company specialising more in white wines. And so I worked at Leo Beering's as a distributor then with a view of then trying to find a job as a winemaker for Lindeman's. I targeted them because they seemed to be such a professional organisation. They really had a view of educating people about wine and so forth. And I thought, if someone's going to teach me about wine, these are the people who are going to do it.
Right. So where did we evolve to from there?
Well, I thought I would do that for 3 years and then move on. And
Yeah.
23 years later, I
Right.
was approached by Richard Hamilton, who asked me to come along and join his company. And I think it took me about a minute and a half to say yes, that'd be fantastic. And so I threw it all the way and moved here. So
And how long ago was that?
that was in
Not trying to give away your age or anything, but-
in 2001. So
2000?
So this is my 20th vintage with Richard Hamilton.
Oh. 20 years. How has the winery evolved in those 20 years?
Well, the winery has evolved a bit. We've put in a little bit of technology here and there, but made a few changes to the way we do things. But really, the essence of the winery is to bring out the fruit of the vines, to try and preserve what's grown on the grapes, to actually make the best possible wine we can. So the equipment that you have is just the tools you use to do that.
Yeah.
And then some of the techniques that we've changed. We've evolved things, and every year's a learning experience. And what I'm really looking forward to, though, is the next 150 years, because I reckon by that stage I might have it down pat.
Fair enough. Because we are pretty young.
We are.
And the Australian wine is relatively young compared to the rest of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking about me in 150 years' time. I might have a bit of knowledge about what goes on.
Right. You got some information we don't know
That's right,
about?
I never know.
Where's the elixir of life over here?
Yes.
right.
Well,
Well, you got
speaking of that,
Speaking
let's
of,
try
let's
it.
give this one a go.
So, what are we starting with? Obviously.
Chardonnay Pinot Noir, so we have the bubbles, and I'm letting you do the spiel.
Yeah. Right. Let's just.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is toasting in the morning. You look at those hills for the glass. They're fantastic.
Beautiful.
So we're having a look at it. I'm thinking, nice light. It's almost a peach straw colour.
It's very light in colour. It's
Maybe even a touch of green.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to tell against unless you've got a really nice white
When you're
background
holding
to
it
it.
against
Yeah,
the
that's
Vineyard,
the
it
trick,
looks
isn't
green. Yeah.
But things that I love looking at with your bubbles is just a steady, really small
From the-
bead.
I know, I
You
love
the
it.
way that it comes up there, and if there's just a slight imperfection in the glass, it always this little bead comes up from that little spot. And,
Shh, we're not supposed to be talking about the glass.
are we?
No,
No,
we're not talking about the glass.
It does all the wine, but it's the bead that I'm talking about.
It does look really good.
It is, and it just the way that comes. There's something that's unique about sparkling wines, I guess, is that really fine bead that just makes you just want to have a smell and taste.
So what are we smelling? Jay, what are you smelling? We'll start with the layman's first.
Something light, okay. So not too strong, something light, bit citrusy. Got a little bit of a citrus blend there. I quite like that.
Yeah?
And the taste, I've already had a little sip
Oh,
while
you
you guys were talking.
did you?
Oh, I did.
Couldn't wait?
I snuck a little
Right,
one while
we'll
we were
catch
there.
up.
It's smooth.
Ooh.
Has the taste. I got a little bit appley note there, something a little bit fruity underneath.
Yeah, maybe.
I would, for me, beautiful aftertaste. None of
Yeah.
that bit cheap
Yeah.
wines have that real
That real
bitterness
grip,
after
that
them.
real dry
But
bitterness.
this is, I'm going to have another one because there's no such thing as one in a row. So you've got to have a little another taste and then we'll come back to it. It reminds me of Christmas morning.
Christmas morning?
Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes your mouth water after.
Or winning,
Yeah.
winning a grand final, one or the other.
It's a,
Which I'm
All of
pretty
those
sure
beautiful
that
golden things.
the Brisbane ladies are going to win on Saturday against the Crows. So,
Oh, well, see,
I thought I'd
I'm
just bring that
biased.
up.
I'm like, I'll be on Crows then, thanks very much. So we'll see how that goes.
All right.
this is certainly going to date this interview, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fine.
But this is what I like about this wine is it's we've really gone for a drier style. Now, a lot of wines at this type of price point can be a little bit sweet. This has got some really refreshing sort of
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
some
nice balance of both.
nice
Exactly.
bright acidity to it.
Yep.
And you love your
I
bubbles.
love my bubbles, I do. Yeah, I love my bubbles. And when they go down this easily, it's a little dangerous.
Oh, yes,
They're
a
beautiful.
bit dangerous, you
They're
reckon?
beautiful.
Yeah. Well, there's been about 850,000 bubbles so far, so you must have a lot of love.
I do.
Okay.
Well,
But it's good. The thing that we look for is a little bit of yeastness to it,
Yep.
a little bit of the complexity you get from the yeast cells in a wine, which just imparts on those characters. Certainly from the fruit, you mentioned that
Fruity undertone?
fruity undertone that's coming through. Pinot Noir gives a bit of that sort of lift as well. A little
Yes.
bit of strawberries in Pinot Noir. But Chardonnay is always a great variety to have in sparkling wine.
Yeah.
It's
Nice blend.
nice and vibrant and good. Yeah. So
No, it's
Good.
lovely, that one.
I reckon, yeah.
And so that grows into
What a great start.
I know, beautiful start.
So,
yeah, nice and
where's
fresh.
I guess we should ask where's the fruit source from?
Yeah.
Chardonnay's from here, is it?
no, actually, in this particular wine, we've gone for a bit more cool climate. So it's a Coonawarra wine,
Right.
and it's so it's a little bit cooler. It's you can get Chardonnay for a bit more acidity into it, which is what we're doing.
And the Pinot?
Pinot's also from Coonawarra.
Right. Good Pinot in Coonawarra?
Good Pinot in Coonawarra.
Oh.
I've made a lot of
Something
Pinot.
to look forward to.
I've made a lot of Pinot Noir in Coonawarra into dry red. We don't have one, unfortunately, but it's good. The style of Pinot from Coonawarra tends to be a little bit fuller and bigger than you would find from say cooler regions.
Okay.
But it can make a fantastic red wine. But when you pick it early, and which you do for making a sparkling wine,
Right.
you pick it nice and early, so there's not too much colour in the grapes.
Exactly, yep.
But and it maintains the acidity. So and when you pick it early, it's got quite high acidity, which you need to try and balance off these wines.
Beautiful.
Of course, Pinot Noir is a red grape, and in order to get it nice and light in this colour, you need to get it off its skins pretty quickly.
Quite early. Yeah, exactly. Before that colour sets in.
I've got a feeling
That was a
we're going
beautiful
to
start.
learn a lot today.
I think so.
Yeah. And I'm going to mimic it and pretend like I know what I'm talking
There
about
you
next
go.
time.
That's it. Pick it up.
Great start.
That was fantastic.
Wasn't it?
Good.
What's up
Then
next?
we're going to crack on to wine 2, which may have been picked by me.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go for the Fiano, and we're the
One of your favourites.
2020 Fiano. Ladies first.
Thank you very much, sir.
You might notice that we're not really a tasting show.
No.
We're a little bit more of a...
Yeah, we overpour with the tasting.
Yeah, well, it's just a bit of a drinking, not drinking as in we still drink responsibly, but the whole idea is to get an actual good
Get an actual good taste.
taste, yeah.
Lovely.
So I'm going to put this
The
in.
colour's beautiful.
Everything goes upside down for a glass.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Isn't it great?
Especially when you're out in a vineyard.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
it's beautiful. You can get the real colour from it, from the
And that's
natural sunlight.
where you should be trying white wines out in the
It's
out
out
the
in
vineyard on a sunny
nature,
day
so you can get the pure colour. Exactly.
and when the light
Yeah.
shines through, the whole thing just blossoms. Just
It is.
lovely.
All right,
So this is Fiano. Yeah.
Okay.
so Fiano, for the punters that don't know, Italian grape
Give
variety.
us a rundown.
Southern Italian.
Yeah.
Southern Italian. Yeah.
Very, match extremely well to our climate.
Matches very well. So it's the southern Italian climate. Of course, is reasonably warm,
Okay.
and this can be warm as well. But it's a variety which maintains its acidity.
Yeah.
But it's got some lovely roundness and richness to it, and just
It's
it's
still got
just
that,
beautiful.
even in the smell, it sort of catches. It's got
So what
that
colour?
acidity
What are
to
you
it.
thinking, Jade, colour-wise?
Colour-wise,
We'll ask the
it's a
expert
little
in a
bit of a
minute.
creamy yellow, isn't it? It's just that little bit.
A creamy colour, you reckon?
Yeah.
It's that softer yellow.
More golden, isn't
Softy,
it?
golden. That's
Golden,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
it's that softer yellow sort of.
With a good sort of spurt of green in there as well.
Yeah, no, the green's
Which you
there for
expect,
sure.
Which you need to have in a young wine.
Yes.
Smelling?
Smells nice. I like the catch.
Smells nice? Smells nice like what?
It smells like it makes my mouth water, and I want to.
Smells like I want to drink it.
Mm.
Yeah. What should we be smelling?
Which I think what you're smelling is just right. It's got some creaminess to it.
Yeah.
Got some different, lovely sort of vibrancy in the nose.
Ready for a
It's really
taste.
fresh.
It is
It just lends itself for food, doesn't it? It's just a mouth-watering wine that just think, a little bit of bread on this, a little bit of something on the side.
Oh, I can understand why you're biased. That's beautiful, isn't it?
Put that one over there, I reckon.
Pocket that one for
No,
later.
that is.
That is beautiful.
That is
Okay,
superb.
so
Yeah.
very, very easy to drink.
I think one of the things that, if you talk about history, is that one of the unfortunate things is that people don't recognise just how good an area McLaren Vale is for making white wines. This means some terrific wines made from other varieties apart from this.
Yeah.
Riesling is often associated with being a sort of cooler climate variety, but
Clear Valley, obviously.
there's some,
Yeah.
that's very, very famous for it. But there's,
Yeah.
some, there's excellent Riesling grown here too. But unfortunately, a lot of those vines are gone now because people haven't really sort of, people think, oh, well, maybe you can't grow those varieties here. And it's a shame because the region can produce some lovely white wines. But lending itself to this, it is a variety which is suitable to a slightly warmer climate.
It's
It is,
popping up
yeah.
everywhere too, isn't it?
Yeah.
And of course,
People are-
So
don't
more
forget-
readily available now, yeah, with the Mediterranean climate and things like that, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, don't forget we have the coast near here, so it's not as though
Oh,
it's...
we've got some maritime influence.
That's
haven't
right.
we?
So it's
Yeah.
nice and cool at
Right,
night time
isn't
to try and cool it down. And they're the type of things you need to try and grow really good quality white wines and red wines.
Right, so
It's beautiful.
you've
So what flavour are we getting? It's just
Well, there's a bit of peach there, I think.
it is.
It is. Peachy, some of that ripe,
That fruity,
ripe
and it doesn't
peach
have that
and
real creepy dry aftertaste, so it's sort of quite smooth, quite creamy,
Yeah. But
goes down
then-
easily.
But then quite nice, good, clean acidity finish. So it finishes nice and refreshing. And
Yes.
it's the essence of any wine is that you can look forward to a second glass of anything you try. That it's
Oh,
it's a nice taste.
Marketing
and a
told
second
you to
glass.
say that, didn't they? Right, like, I can see them in marketing all nodding their head. Good boy, good boy. All right, so pairing it food-wise, what do you reckon?
Well,
What would Paul pair it with?
I'm
We're at Paul's house.
look, I'm a
We're sitting on the balcony where.
Well,
What are
we're
we having?
going to have a lovely food platter coming out now, but what I would like to have it with is a lovely bit of sashimi. I love sashimi. I could eat that all day.
Right.
You know, lovely and fresh and sort of vibrant, and it's got the creaminess to go with that as well.
Yeah.
But Mark's coming here with some lovely food. There might be something on here. That
There we go, guys.
Well, what have we got here?
So
Wow.
one of our mixed platters. So quite a little collection we have on here. So mixture of basically cheese, meats, bit of pate and some fruit. So what we have on here, we've got Andy Clapper's bread from up the top of Wollonga Hill, which is a bit of a favourite amongst all
From
of us.
our place?
Our place?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's fantastic. We love the bread if it gets into the be stored. Cheeses, we've got a BD Paris Creek Farms triple cream brie, Ashgrove cheddar, and the Adele Blue, which I'm a big blue fan, which is fantastic. We have Little Acre Foods chicken pate, which is gorgeous pate. From a couple of the local butchers, we have a Metwurst from McLaren Vale Country Meats, and the ham as well, their award-winning ham, which is fantastic. And then we've got chorizo from Ellis Butchers as well to top that. We have a little bit of Moroccan jam, which is hiding over here, which is great on the meats and the cheeses. I'm really partial to it. We've got some lovely dukkha from Pip Forrester, who makes one of the local food legends.
She is the McLaren Vale
Oh,
legend.
she is an absolute legend. It's fantastic. And then we have local McLaren Vale olive oil with a little dash of balsamic vinegar in there just to top that off. And a few little almonds from McLaren Vale and a little bit of pan forward.
So
Spot for choice.
really, this platter here, no matter what wine you're drinking, what wine you're tasting, grab this platter. Looks like that you'd be enough for 3 or 4, but I
Yeah.
think a couple.
Depends how hungry one is.
Well, that's true.
Very true.
But that looks absolutely sensational. And I'm going to ask I don't usually, but I'm going to ask the price question.
This one's at 55 for a Platter.
55.
55, so it's a nice feed for
That's
that.
a good,
That's really well done.
So-
Yeah,
good quality local produce for a great price.
fantastic.
And
Right.
as local as we can get it.
Yeah.
all
So
right.
I think that
Yeah. And that's enough for 4 people, wouldn't it?
Oh, 2 to 4, as I always say, depends how hungry everyone is.
yeah.
Some get a bit hungrier than others.
I must admit I pretty much polished one off on myself.
I'm making
Only
no
because it was
comment.
so
Give
good.
it to you, just take it home and eat it yourself, yep.
Absolutely.
All right, so
Fantastic.
let's ask, what would you pair the Fiano with?
Me, I would probably go the triple cream brie, and a little bit of the fruit as well. I like it with that. So,
Righto.
as Paul was saying, that freshness,
That fresh
that
citrusy,
and that
yeah,
creaminess you were
beautiful.
noticing, I reckon it's a great match with a brie.
Yeah.
That's a personal preference.
No, we'll go that.
Right,
And Paul,
we'll
well,
trust the taste.
we don't have any
Yeah,
sashimi
that's
today.
great.
No, we don't.
We don't. No.
But I think that there's enough acidities in this wine that really cut through the pate. So I think a
Pate,
bit
I
of
was
bread, a
thinking
bit
that.
of
I was eyeing
pate.
that off.
It would just clean off that very, very nicely. So I think that's what I would try with, and or maybe just a bit of something really basic, a bit of bread, a bit of dukkha, and a bit of balsamic and oil. That's you could eat that all day.
The
couldn't you?
beautiful.
Right. Well, we probably could if we had a plate, I reckon.
So what shall we try first? The cheese and the Fiano?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're good.
Oh, no.
So we can't all eat at the same time. So you guys go for it, and
I'll give the triple cream brie a go first.
you have a go.
I think that's well. That's
Goes well. Yeah. Matched the creaminess of the
Yep,
cheese.
yeah.
Yeah. Did it make the wine creamy, or did it take the creaminess away?
No, I think it's the to me what you're looking for is that lovely burst of flavour from the creaminess, and then that the roundness of the wine, but then that little burst of acidity at the end just to clean the palate. So it's much refreshing.
Yeah, it cuts through the creaminess and gives you that really nice aftertaste. It's beautiful. Oh, I'm very happy with that pairing.
I'm not.
Oh,
No.
not satisfied.
No.
What's your choice?
Oh, just the cheese was too much. Couldn't taste the wine afterward.
Really?
Yeah.
Found it was too creamy and
Yeah.
sort of dulled
That's
the
'cause
taste
I'm-
of the
that's
actual
'cause I'm
wine
hanging out
itself.
for the pate
or-
more than
That's it,
anything,
he's
but-
aiming for the pate.
I'm going to go first this time.
Go for gold.
Oh, that pate is so good. You don't even. I'd never say it before, but you almost don't even need wine with it.
Oh, yeah. You look so nice, isn't it? Just,
Oh, much better.
Okay, you're a
Much
pate
better.
fan with it?
Yeah.
Okay. A little taste of this, we'll do a little taste of the pate.
Yeah, that's.
does look.
I reckon that enhances the flavour of the wine, where I couldn't really taste it with the cheese.
Okay, yeah, different flavoured altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah, brings out completely different flavours in the wine.
Even though we're novices. Sparkling red and triple brie.
Yes. Yeah.
Perfect pairing.
Nice blend of a bit of that, yeah, that red
Bronny
sparkling
from-
and that carbonated. Yeah.
Well, it's not. We got told it when we did the sparkling. We did the sparkling red tour.
Oh,
Went
yes.
around on e-bikes to all the places, and we picked
missed
6
out
or
on that
7.
one.
Yeah, it was quite difficult, and tasted all. And then we picked our favourites, and we matched them with food.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome, and the triple brie killed it with the
Stunning.
sparkling red. So cheese too powerful
Yeah.
for me.
Find something
Other
pate.
people might choose different, but
Yep.
the pate, superb. And I'm going to go as far as to say you don't even need food with this one.
No, it's nice enough on
No,
its own.
it's
It's got
nice
enough
enough,
flavour
yeah.
through it that I think it's nice enough on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit disappointed because sashimi would have went perfectly with that, wouldn't it?
I'm Mark. I'm one of the Cellar crew here, so you'll find me here during the week and on weekends, and helping people out with the tastings and getting a bit of food prepared for those who want to have a bite to eat. And we're based here just out of the McLaren Vale township, just a hop, skip and a jump. We face out to the east over the Adelaide Hills. There's a great view out here at any time of the year. Beautiful, whether it be sunshine, if it's raining, there's an awesome view just to take in and relax. Enjoy a glass of wine and enjoy a bite to eat as well. Plenty of room for the kids, so we try to be very, very family friendly so people can enjoy themselves and not be constrained by something.
So, wine 3.
Next on the agenda.
Wine 3. We can't come to McLaren Vale. Well, can't come down the road to McLaren Vale without doing a Grenache.
Ah, Grenache.
So we've got
My favourite.
your favourite. I thought champagne was your favourite.
Oh, I'm talking about reds.
Okay, fair. Your favourite red. Okay. Burton's. Tell us. So we've got the Burton Vineyards Old Vine Grenache.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit of a story about that while I get us ready.
So Burton, the name is Richard Hamilton's father. Okay, so it's named after his father. So he's his father's one. And so Grenache is something that was new to me when I joined this company. I hadn't become involved in Grenache before, so I went out and into the market there, and I chose a couple of Grenaches that were on sale from some notable companies in the region, and tasted them all, and tasted them compared to the Grenache that I was making. And these wines, they were dark and deep and
Look at the colour.
black, and I thought, our wines know nothing like that. It's lighter and fresher. What am I doing wrong? You know? And so I played around with it, and I must admit, in my first year or so of doing it, add a little bit of Shiraz to it to try and get a bit more depth to it.
Oh, you're cheating.
Okay.
You're cheating.
Ooh, throw a little bit of something in there.
You can do a little bit, you know, sort of 5%, to try and emulate what I thought was the great winemakers of the region, the people who should know what they're talking about. Then it detracted from it. It just didn't really look like Grenache anyhow. So we took a punt and we started to try and make Grenache as it should be. You know,
Right, that lighter colour.
Well, to me,
Look at that.
To me, I think that's what Grenache is, though, isn't
It
it?
is. It's perfect. It's allowing
That's
the grape to speak
beautiful.
for itself rather than actually trying to formulate a wine which is
Love that colour.
made because people. And this is looking back 20 years ago. It's looking at, where deep dark reds is what people wanted. And that's what it is. Rather than allowing the wine to speak for itself.
I noticed that you keep going like this on the napkin. That's good because that gives you the
So you're
true
doing it
colour.
against the... yes, all right, we're learning.
Yeah.
And Grenache is just one of those varieties which is just, I love it. It's one of the favourite wines in the cellar. It's not the biggest wine. It's it doesn't have much oak influence at all. We've matured in either in vats, large format oak vats, or in oak which is probably 6-7 year old barrels. So it doesn't. So it gets a maturation, but not a. But not a lot of
Not that
oak
really
influence.
deep oaky taste.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a wine that we want the fruit to express itself.
Yep.
Want a little bit of a concentration that oak maturation gives. So you get a little bit of evaporation when you mature wines.
It's not a set and forget, though, is it?
It's not a set.
No.
It's a hard work. Like for the winemaker, it's a hard
A lot of watch.
bit of labour in there.
Yep.
A lot of watch,
isn't
keep
it?
an eye on
Yep.
it. Yeah. And so it allows the fruit to speak for itself. But to me, Grenache is it's part of the history of this region. It's,
You know what it is going to be? A massive part of the future.
oh yes,
Isn't it?
Yes.
And
I'd say so.
it was
God, that smells
it was
beautiful.
in some ways it was a line variety sort of. People saw Grenache is now lighter.
Does that make your mouth?
Oh yeah, it does.
Being a Pinot lover, a lighter wine is right up my alley.
Yeah.
And the look of this is
It's stunning.
yeah.
That colour is something else.
Right, I'm gonna.
All right, we're going to have to
what are we
taste.
smelling?
We've
Smelling
looked at it long enough.
We,
Oh,
It's
so
quite vibrant,
fresh.
yeah?
It's so fresh. It is. It's
It's so
fresh and
fresh.
vibrant.
this is a reasonably youthful one. This is this current release is only 12 months old. Just over 12 months old.
Yeah, there's a trick to make. Well, a lot of people now, and especially in this area, are making their Grenaches to drink right now.
Yes.
you
Ready
know.
to go.
And I actually had a 2007 Grenache that had been put away, and totally different
Totally
wine.
different.
Totally different wine. But to drink now, these are absolutely
They're
superb.
fantastic.
But the way that I sort of tackle these wines is that they are lovely and approachable now, and even their freshness. And there's this thing will go with anything.
Anything on the platter. Okay.
But it's got to look good in 5 or 6 years' time, or 7 years' time, or 10 years' time. So, so I had a 8-year-old of this wine a week or so ago. Just look back, it was just fantastic. There's a bit more complexity to
Yeah.
it.
So,
more
how
depth.
does that change over time? It's more
It
complexity.
just
to the
evolves. You get a
actual
little bit
wine,
more,
or-
get a bit more earthy characters coming through.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Which you're looking for. A little bit. But it's
Drops
just
a little of that sort of young fruity taste, and then
yeah,
gets
so
a little bit
it gets
more
a bit
into
around it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I've when I first started trying to make Grenache, I think I look back at my naivety in many ways. Now, Grenache as a variety can be quite tannic, can be really quite
Yeah.
dry.
really grips. Yes.
Yeah? But So when I first started making it, we were looking at trying to make Grenache, finding it to try and remove some of those tannins, and it never quite worked. So now what we do is we do the opposite.
Yeah.
I look at Grenache as being...
Lean into the tannins of it all.
Well, I believe it... To try and make an analogy, you know, if you have a plastered wall, okay, and there's a bit of indentation, you can fine it, or you can sand the whole thing back so it's all nice and smooth.
Okay.
Or you can plug the hole with something to make it a bit more depth.
Oh, you just put a picture over it.
Or all around it. Well, that's what the label's for.
Yeah.
And you can build it up. And what we're doing now is we're building the wine up. So we're very little or almost no fining.
Yeah.
And just building the palate to try and augment those tannins to try and make them rounder and richer. So what you get now is a wine which almost appears sweet, but it's bone dry. So it's got that roundness and depth to it.
Yeah,
And
so
you-
it's that layered taste. Yeah,
Yes, that's
fantastic.
right. And you mentioned a bit about
I like that metaphor.
about the analogy with Pinot Noir before. You know, I think that Grenache is the variety that Pinot Noir producers probably strive for.
Oh, that's a big cool.
Oh.
It is-
That's a big
That's
cool.
it. I was going to say.
Our Tasmanian viewers are arguing with you, but no, it's fine.
And I love Pinot Noir, and I love well-made Pinot Noir.
Right.
But Grenache is just so reliable and so much depth to it. And
That's what
I
I
got
find.
told.
That's what I find. I jump to a
When your palate finally evolves, this is from the Petrucci's, good friends of mine. When your palate finally evolves, you'll move into Grenache, and then when your palate evolves again, you'll move into something a little heavier. Because they've teased me for years about loving Pinot.
oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, you live in
Oh, you
McLaren
work
Vale.
your
Why
way
the
up.
hell do you like Pinot? Like,
Oh, yeah. Pinots are fantastic.
It is.
What am I saying is I love Pinot Noir. I've made a lot of Pinot Noir.
I know, you don't have to backpedal now.
No,
You already told us Grenache is way
Every time I
better.
try and backpedal, we'll put the brakes on.
You're on the Grenache train. We've heard
So-
it here first.
But speaking of heard it here first, we've had this idea for a little while. And we want to run it past you as well. We're going to do a Grenache show. It's evolving a little bit more. We were thinking we might even do a Grenache series. So we'll do McLaren Vale, we'll do Langon Creek, we'll do the Riverland.
Yeah. We'll do Clare Valley.
They are squawking and talking up their Grenache.
Yeah.
They are. I wouldn't have believed them if I
excited
hadn't
for
have been
that.
there, but
Yep.
I'll tell you what, they're going to come in, and obviously the Barossa. We won't forget the Barossa because they always say we should be called McLaren Vale Wine Weekly because we never mention them, but we'll mention the Barossa. So what we're going to do is we're going to get punters to nominate their Grenaches, then we're going to get the Grenaches on, and then we're going to get somebody with some knowledge like yourself and some passion for it to help us judge them, and then we're going to go
Grenache by region.
one from each region, and then we're going to get wine showcase, and we're going to put on an event, and we're going to bring some Grenaches from around the world as well, and then we're going to taste them off with some proper
Full
wine
tasting
judges,
table. Yeah.
and then we're going to come up with the SA Wine Weekly Grenache of the Year.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good idea?
Best of the
Very
region
good.
and the best
Yeah.
of the year.
And of course,
Yep.
just looking at region
Yeah.
and the wine, a bit like the Fiano, you know, the Grenache is grown in the southern part of France. It's grown in Spain, so those sort of
Okay.
slightly warmer
Yeah.
Mediterranean
So it's
areas.
again Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it sort of lends itself to those sort of warmer varieties. You know? So it's just a great drink. It's top of, it does all those things I was saying before. That it lends itself to have a second glass of this wine. You cannot almost resist it. I think.
Second or third.
Right. And what are we going to pair
Of
it?
course, in moderation. Of course, we don't want to overindulge.
No, you don't want to ruin the palate and
That's
play.
right.
No.
Or yourself.
So what is your pick for pairing? Obviously, you
Well, why don't you
decided
go, why don't you go
everything on the
first? You
platter.
go first.
I'm thinking let's go a little fresh. So I'm going to sit down here and grab a little piece of
Pear. We'll serve ourselves then.
a little piece of
We're going to go
fruit.
pear with it. What does a winemaker say about that?
Pear. Oh, I'll try. I won't prejudge.
Something not too overpowering. Just cut through. Subtle difference. Not much. Let's level up.
Yeah, stick to your day job, I reckon. Come on, Paul.
I think it needs something a bit
We're
more rounded.
lowballing
Yeah,
it in.
come on.
I would go for
Gonna have a bit of a cheese.
Your
or a bit
pairing
of
was that
pasta.
good, Paul didn't even eat it.
Oh, just
No, you don't have to.
having also saving some.
That's why we have the plate here.
It's such a
Just
lovely
half
pear.
taste.
I love pear. It's great, fantastic.
Just not with Grenache.
Pear and walnut. So
Excuse me.
So we're going ham or?
I would go for the ham. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Maybe not the chorizo, but maybe the ham.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah.
Can you eat a whole piece yourselves, or you want to have half a piece?
Oh,
I'll tell you what.
There's one
Or
each
you
there,
can cut
isn't
it
there?
up. Doesn't matter either way.
Yeah.
We've got a piece each there. It doesn't matter.
Just fine.
Leave the rest on the plate. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Making a mess of Mark's plate, though.
Oh, that's right.
That's all right. That's
It
the whole
did look
point.
really nice though, didn't it?
What's a shame about food is you've always got to destroy it in order to enjoy
I
it.
know. All right.
Christmas all year round was what I heard about this ham.
Locally sourced.
Maybe don't talk with a mouthful there. Just kind of finish what you.
You know.
Much better pairing.
Yeah, nice.
It's a bit of a smoky
Nice.
flavour there.
Still doesn't do much for the adding
No.
to the flavour for me. No.
You think about more pate,
Something
perhaps?
a little bit, maybe more of a pate, maybe more of a cheese blend. I tend to like my cheese and my reds. As I
Okay.
start moving into the reds, I like my cheeses.
I'm going to say let's try the cheese, not the blue cheese, the cheddar.
Something
Oh,
in
yes.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this cheddar's from Tasmania, I heard.
Some of
So
the best.
it's a quality cheese.
Yep.
And it's so it doesn't overpower. I couldn't find a cheddar that didn't overpower the wine.
Okay.
So go for it. Cut
So
us
that's
up a couple of
something
bits
a
of
little
that,
bit
yeah.
medium. Yep.
We'll try that.
All right, beautiful. Let's do a little bit of this.
Yeah, it's just not heaps, I don't reckon.
No, just a little. Now, would you like to pair it with anything, or would you
I'm
like
just
to
going to go
as is?
straight cheese, yeah?
You're going to go
Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
cheese? Don't mind me with my little slice.
Thank you. Oh, it's good cheese.
There we are. Little slice. Feel free.
Thank you very much.
Use fingers.
Do you know the history of wax and cheese? Please say yes, but I don't know the answer.
No. Oh, way better. Not just because I chose it, but maybe a little bit. Nah,
It's a lovely cheddar, isn't it?
it is,
I
isn't
love
it?
cheddar.
Yep,
Oh.
that's my favourite pairing. Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit of cheese, a little bit of red.
Oh,
I'm
it's
happy with
pretty
that.
obvious, isn't it? One of us knows food.
Yeah.
You're loving the colour.
The others
you
you
can't
can
get
have
over
the
the, you
flavour.
can't get over the
The
colour,
colour's
can you?
beautiful.
Looks so vibrant,
Yeah.
just so vibrant.
does,
and it just
yeah.
entices. You can't help. You're irresistible. Yeah, it's the.
Yeah, it is a beautiful colour.
You're talking about the wine or Jade?
It's the red lipstick.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. It matches the. So I don't think she's got lipstick on it. It's just the wine.
It is, yeah.
Just the wine.
I'm just going to be permanently stained now after all my life.
As long as it stays on your lips, not on your teeth, you'll be fine.
But can you see what I mean? It's got some elegance to it, but it's got that roundness.
Yes.
And
Yep. No,
Should be
cheese
the
pairing
legs
is
too,
the
hasn't
win.
it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's not a shy wine. It's you wouldn't want to get.
And do you want to tell us anything about the vineyard? Where does it come from? Or
Well, vineyard. You can see the vineyard just out here.
Yeah.
Just out here. It's
Oh, wow.
vineyard. It's
Massive sign right behind us, Burton's.
Yep, Burton's Vineyard. That's right. So that's
Directly
where it
there.
comes from.
Fantastic.
So you can see it. You know, it's not often that you can go to a place and try the wine and then look out and see where it's grown. It's part of wine is to have a sense of place where it comes from.
Yes,
And like
very
food,
nice.
Yes.
you can say out there, this is where it comes from, and it gives you a
Exactly.
sense of being there. You know, it's
Yes.
like the difference between travelling and going to a place as compared to reading about it in a book. You know, you can travel somewhere, you can read as much as you like, but you can never get a feeling of the ambience of it unless you've actually been there.
Have
you know?
immersed yourself in.
Yeah, and
exactly.
you get an idea. And
Yeah.
of course, as a traveller, you only get a snapshot of it. You know, that's one of the problems I have with being a tourist is that you get a snapshot of a place, and that is your memory. But at least it's better than.
Well,
not
that
having
probably
experience
leads us into come to the cellar door.
Exactly.
Come to the
Experience
cellar
the
door.
place because
Yeah.
the whole atmosphere, paired with the wine and paired with your food pairings as well, it just creates a whole atmosphere.
And the
We're
people.
actually drinking
You've got
wine.
the
And
people
here
are
as
very
well. Of
special
course.
here as well. And great area for kids.
It is.
Great, which is important for me.
Yeah.
I've
Accommodates everything.
asked them if they could have a nanny, so I could actually come here and
So
someone
you
could look
can
after my
drop the
kids.
kids off?
And
While you drink your bottle of Fiano, okay.
well, it's not in the Fiano, but I'll be moving on to the Grenache pretty quickly, I reckon.
See? Okay. He's converted to Grenache.
It's also about wine is it's got to reflect the year as well. You know, sort of. So 2020, for example, is a year which didn't produce the super deep dark colours that we would get in some varieties.
Yeah.
So you get this sort of vibrancy. And that if you compare them with say the 2019 is a little bit deeper, you know, in
Yeah.
colour, and then that just reflects just what nature provided that year. 2021.
Well, we're excited, aren't we?
A
We're excited.
bit deeper again. So
Okay.
lovely round flavours, lovely depth,
And plenty of fruit.
Lovely fruit,
Yeah.
just outstanding.
Yeah.
Just,
You're excited, are you?
I am very excited.
Yeah. Finally, some fruit to
Yeah.
really make some cracking wines.
I reckon if I was a marketer or a salesman, I'd be just looking forward to this year so much.
Right. Excellent. What I don't know how we're going to top that. Actually, I do know how we're going to top that because we're going to move to the Cab Sav.
Okay.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Let's do that.